Hello, Virgo, and welcome back to my Body and Heart Tarot Therapy. I'm here to do the reading for what's left of March 2020. I hope you're well, Virgo. We're gonna have a full moon coming in Virgo in a few days. I think it's on the 9th. So, yeah, let's see what's going on with you this month, the Fool, as your current energy. So this is a general reading for Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs. If it resonates, it resonates. And if it doesn't, then it's just not your reading. Don't stretch it or try to make it fit somehow. 5 of Wands as your challenge. Okay, Virgo. Page of Wands and the World as your focus. Queen of Wands as your advice. A lot of Wands. And the 7 of Wands as your future energy. Bottom of the deck we have your card, my dear, which is the Hermit. The Hermit is Virgo energy. Beautiful. Let me pull out the clarifiers before we're going to start this conversation. Okay, so we have the 7 of Pentacles with the Fool as your current energy. I have Temperance with the 5 of Wands as your challenge. 8 of Wands with the Page of Wands and the World as your focus. What a spiritual month for you. Oh, wow. Okay. Queen of Swords, Knight of Cups, and the Knight of Wands as your advice along with the Queen of Wands. And one more. There we go. 3 of Pentacles with the 7 of Wands as your future energy. And we have the Emperor with the Hermit, both major arcana cards. And 1, 2, 3, 5 major arcana. Yeah, I think it's a deeply spiritual month for you. And with all the Wands showing up, one's energy is about love, not love, more like the passion and actions that we put out into the world, but it deals mainly with the spiritual realm. So the Hermit with the Emperor as your underlying energy, the theme of this reading. Just a moment to take in these cards a little bit. Yeah, the Hermit with the Emperor. The Hermit is your energy, and it's an energy that I didn't really associate with Virgo before, because probably my understanding of Virgo wasn't that deep. But I absolutely love the Hermit energy, because it's somebody who's wise, and it's somebody who's taking time to go somewhere deep, you know. This person here, this old wise man, is going up into, you know, it's dark in there, it's on the top of a mountain, so it means like there was an effort to go in there. And he's holding the star here into this light that I forgot the name of this lamp, whatever, night lamp, which means hope and healing. So he's making an effort to go into places that you can't usually reach easily, and he's bringing light into dark corners. It's very investigative energy. An investigation from a place of wisdom, not the overthinkingness of the mind of what can be quite typical for air signs, for example. So it's a very grounded approach to healing. It's a very grounded approach to self-investigation, I would say. It's an interesting one because investigation, when you go into Dharma investigation, for example, it's part of the process of the Eightfold Path, for example, but it's not recommended a lot. Only in some cases. Most of the time, people are on the Eightfold Path of, but no, the Buddhist path. Are recommended to simply meditate. Just meditate, and vipassana, taking, like, I don't know, doing being present with everything that is. Or if you do concentration retreats, then you will focus on concentrating your attention on a particular thing in order to induce jhanas or whatever. If you or even if it's like more Buddhist, not Buddhist, I mean Tibetan Buddhism, the focus will be a lot on service as well, not just on the meditation. And they say that this Dharma investigation is to be made only when certain things arise, because if we go into investigation all the time, we may end up like in a whirlpool. Everything is going to be question after question after question. It was a story. It was a silly story, but it was a story about this. There was this Buddhist monk, and he was very wise. And there was this young man who was curious. He wanted to learn, he wanted to know, but he was also a little bit arrogant. So whenever the monk was around, he was kind of trying to get his attention by showing like how what a smart ass he was, and the monk wasn't really falling for that. So the monk didn't really talk to him in private. One day, finally, he gets like an interview with the monk, and he goes and he starts saying like, yeah, well, I believe in all the path and so on, and I'm doing all these things in order to for attainment or whatever. But I have some very serious questions, like, for example, what is the nature of the universe? And the monk tells him, well, the universe is basically on the back of a turtle. That's the world that we live in. It's just a turtle that's carrying this world on the back of it. And the young man asks, okay, so what does this turtle stay on top? I mean, like, what's under this turtle? Well, there's another turtle. Okay, so what's under this turtle? Well, there's another turtle, and so on, and so on, and so on. So the kid, the young guy was like, okay, but what's under that turtle? And then the monk just was like, let me stop you right there. It's turtles all the way down, okay? When I heard this story first, it didn't make much sense to me, because I was like, okay, yeah, it's turtles all the way down to what? I was resonating strongly with the young man, needing to know what's under. But that's the thing with investigation, we can get lost in there. I don't think this is the case for you, though. You think you can do that type of investigation that's like really grounded, you know exactly how deep to go, and you're not afraid to bring light into darker corners. That's the hermit energy. Of the emperor, I think that you're learning to bring more structure into this, to do this in a structured way. Yes, it may come naturally for you to do this type of like grounded investigation, but sometimes, again, if you get lost into investigation, it's not great. If you don't, we avoid it because you know that you may find something that you don't like, that's also not great. The emperor, I think it's like, okay, I'm owning this. I'm owning what is my I don't know, my quality. What can I do? My unique abilities, I am owning them, and I'm learning in a structured way how to work with them, how to put them to value, both for myself and for the rest of the world, if that's the case. If you're in that space where you can hold space for others, maybe you are, maybe you're not, I don't know. But emperor is about ownership and structure, and about understanding one's needs. The emperor is able to be an emperor because he knows how to cater for the needs of the entire empire, not just his own. And I think you have your own empire to take care of. First of all, an inner empire, which is usually quite vast, and we're not aware of it. And then, so some of us are, but not everybody. But also the world you live in. What is your world consisted of? Your family, your friends, your work. That's your little or not so little empire. And how do you cater for your needs, and how do you cater for the needs of the people in your life without mm, without being in opposition, no, in contrast, or without having to uh, renounce to your needs. I don't know why I'm not able to say that properly. I had it very clear in my mind. Yeah, well, the Emperor and the Hermit. That's an interesting one. But yeah, I think it's mainly having to do with like, okay, taking this amazing skill that you have and use it in a structure, and maybe it's even done. I don't know. Maybe you're studying a new practice and you are learning how to use this in a professional environment. The Fool and the Seven of Pentacles is your current energy. So I think you're having some time to check in with what is it that you really trust in. Where do you put your trust? When is it your trust just somehow naive, and you may be like not aware of the consequences of your actions? And where is your trust really helping you to stay present, to stay committed, to stay true to yourself? Seven of Pentacles talks about assessment, what we're putting in, what we're taking out, and the Fool is all about the leap of faith. What we really, how can we allow our pure heart and our pure soul to come out and play, and really trust into the universe, that, and to my hero's journey and my soul, trusting that I'm doing everything that I can in order to be present with myself, and trusting that I'm doing my best. All that trust. But sometimes we can use this again. Trust can turn into naivete, and we can be taken advantage of, or we can absolve ourselves of responsibility by saying like, yeah, I'm all in the flow. Yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily Virgo type, but we're not just our sun side, or only our moon, or only our rising. You have a very specific combination of energies, and there is much more to you than just your Virgo archetype. So to whichever part of you this talks now, allow that part of you to ask these questions, and to allow into awareness. Many times we simply are not aware that we are maybe using certain certain conclusions coming from a lot of spiritual work or psychological work or all of that, to become an excuse, or to become yeah, let's just stay with excuse. An excuse that, okay, I'm uh, trusting that everything was going the way it's supposed to be going, so I'm not supposed to be doing anything else than that. A lot of people in spiritual world kind of keep this full type of energy, like everything being in the flow, free love, free that, to justify the fact that they just can't seem to find a way to live their lives that makes sense to them. So I don't know, not take responsibility for their decisions, not take responsibility for their actions, not take responsibility for the way they get food or whatever. Nothing wrong with all these communities and and free flow, uh, when it's for real, but when it's just covering up for not wanting to do the shadow work or not wanting to deal with certain things, then just look at it for what it is. And sometimes we use these personas in order to, I've said it already, to kind of get ourselves off the hook with certain things. So this is what you're assessing right now. Keep in mind to not judge any of these. It's really important to just look at it for what it is. Okay, so if I've been using a false naivete, or if I've been like convincing myself that I'm just in the flow about certain things, where actually I was processing something else, well, honor it for what it is. Yeah, that was happening. It's fine. It's not about shaming. It's not about blaming. It's not about, playing the judge here. It's really about recognizing things for what they are, because that's the moment of sorting. That's just the moment of understanding. And take the rest. Like, let go of what doesn't serve you anymore, in the sense that, okay, yeah, I've been doing that. I see that it doesn't really take me anywhere. What's the point of keep doing that? It doesn't make any sense. Here I am, I'm seeing right through it. And keep the trust in yourself that you are doing your best. This type of trust is the one that's going to help. I'm not sure if I'm making a lot of sense here. Probably it's probably a little bit hard to follow. Sorry about that. um I hope you understand what I'm talking about, though, with this assessment and no judgment. Sometimes we can, this whole not judgment part can be very confusing for many of us. How am I going to catch myself doing stuff, or how am I going to observe, I don't know, negative parts of myself without judging? It takes practice and it takes time. Not wanting to repeat a pattern that doesn't serve you anymore doesn't mean belittling that part of you, and doesn't mean putting yourself down. It doesn't mean like asking yourself like, why am I so naive, or why am I so, I don't know, why this whole lack of responsibility. If that's the case, it doesn't need to be. I'm just kind of bringing up this whole for the full archetypes, both good and bad, because that's what you're assessing now. What in this faith of yours is just blind faith? What in this faith of yours is really serving? Okay, let's leave it at that. What's challenging with the Five of Pentacles and Temperance is, yeah, maybe that's what I was just explaining, how to not be judging, how to not turn this into a fight, into an inner fight or in an outward fight with other people. How to temper this need to prove oneself. This need to prove oneself may show up in this type of assessment, because we are like, okay, so if we start seeing parts of ourselves that we're not very happy, the hermit is really good at that. With bringing this healing and hope, bringing this light into dark corners. So allow it to happen in your own space, in your own self, not just with other people, or with work or other stuff. Allow this type of healing to, that lantern of light, allow it to come here to heal this, to help you see what works and what doesn't. If you don't have light, maybe you don't see you don't see what's going on in that pile, right? You don't know what to plant, what to let go of. So yeah, what seems to be challenging is exactly this: how to not get too fired up about this, how to not get too critical, how to not prove to myself that I'm worthy of this and that. You don't have to. You are worthy. You are doing your best. With all the mistakes, with all the goods and the bads and the ugly, you are doing your best. You can only honor your experience for what it is. So if you go into this challenging mode, challenging yourself and trying to prove yourself again and again and again, whether it's to others outside of yourself or to yourself, eventually what you're trying to prove something is still yourself. Looking validation outside of yourself or inside, whatever. You don't need to prove anything. You really have nothing to prove. Temperance is important. Temperance is one of those energies that keep us grounded and testing the waters a little bit. Still doing a little bit of something, stepping back and see how is this working, and then going in and doing it more, finding that place of balance. That's what temperance is all about. And whenever you see this part of yourself that's just getting fired up about this investigation that you're doing and learning how to put your structures into space and how to separate from illusion and delusion and what's real, and how to recognize them, because we need wisdom to recognize this. We need recognize a lot of wisdom to recognize where am I lying to myself and where I'm true to myself. It's very difficult. It may sound not so difficult. It may sound like it's a common knowledge, but it's not. It really isn't. We're so used into lying to ourselves and telling ourselves stories about this or that, and creating the hero story around pretty much everything that we're doing, so that we make sense of our actions. But many times we're just repeating certain patterns for certain reasons, and that's again something to be recognized. It doesn't mean like putting myself to the wall and telling myself, don't you ever do this again. If I do it, if I'm making the same mistake, I need to understand, why am I doing this. I need to a certain degree, again, no, it doesn't mean I need to go through a complete analysis of a psychoanalysis of my childhood to understand why every time I get triggered, or every time I get this feeling of challenging somebody else, or challenging myself in order to prove myself. I don't need to go through that story again and again and again, but I can be present with it, be present where it happens, study it as it happens, and have compassion and love. See this temperance, the heart space is this triangle, which is the fire element. It's that fiery heart of bringing awareness into the heart space, and it's surrounded by this square, which means protection. So it is safe for you to feel. It is safe for you to honor this side of you. It is safe for you to see both dark side and the bright side of the full energy, the trust, the leap of faith. And it's also safe for you to forgive yourself for whenever you made any type of mistakes that you're not so happy with. Focus is, you see this page of Wands of the World. You are graduating from all this. You're learning so much about yourself, and you're able to, with a lot of enthusiasm, pages are like students of life, students, in this case one, students of spirituality of some sort, student of yourself. You're studying yourself. This is pretty much what life is all about, actually, and we most of us miss that quite a lot. We're coming here to learn about myself. I'm coming here to learn about myself, because I am not my thoughts, I am not my mind, I am not my emotions, I'm not any of that. And instead of like keep labeling myself, okay, I'm a woman, I don't know, an architect in my case, a mother, or I'm not a mother, but maybe some of us, many of you are, I'm this or that. Or defining myself if through my diagnosis, if I have a diagnosis, I am bipolar, or I am suffering from anxiety, or I'm this or that. It's very important to see the labels that we put on ourselves. What we're learning, though, is that we're not these labels. We're not as small as we think we are. We have much more of this divine nature that we keep forgetting. Sometimes we over-identify with that and we completely forget about our human nature, about the fact that we are still here to do some work. But with this page of Wonders of the World, I think that you're graduating from this, because it's, and if you don't see it, bring your focus on what you've learned and allow this enthusiasm to come out. See, this kid here is looking at this wand that's probably showing out of nowhere in this desert, which is a pretty not very nourishing environment, rather harsh. And he's seeing this wand, which is like, I don't know, growing leaves, and he's fascinated by it. What have you learned from this type of experience? What are you learning from what fascinates you, what gets you, brings you your passion and playfulness out? And with the Eight of Wands, to clarify these two cards, the Eight of Wands is learning. It's really taking in a lot of information and messages from the divine, most likely messages from your higher self, from your soul. It's that type of spiritual download that you get at the level of insight. It's information moving really, really fast, and it's energy being put into something moving really, really fast. So careful what you're wishing for, careful what you're focusing on. Focus on the things that you've learned, what you've graduated from this process, what you take your lessons, acknowledge your lessons, and see what makes you tick, what makes you excited, what you're excited to learn more about, what makes you playful. And that's where you're getting your information from, what you need right now. Advice, you have the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Swords, the Knight of Cups, and the Knight of Wands. Very interesting, you see? I don't know if you see much here. Sorry, I'm just going to change this. So we have the two queens and the two knights of these two particular suits, the wands and the sword. Oh no, what? This one is from the cups. Sorry, I thought it's the swords. The Queen of Wands and the Knight of Wands here, and the Queen of Swords and the Knight of Cups. I don't know why I'm looking at them in a cross, maybe because these two belong to the same suit, but they are in the opposite positions. They're all coming as your advice. The Queen of Wands and the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Wands talks about really owning your everything. Be like owning what you're great at, but also owning what you're not great at. Playing to your, what's it called? Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's really important to own yourself. That brings confidence. It's fine. It's fine. We're not perfect. We shouldn't be. Life is not about being perfect. It's about experiencing ourselves and learning how we can, how we are unique. And sometimes we can be unique in rather weird ways, and that's okay too. There was an interesting talk by this guy, J.P. Spears or something like that. He's one of those comedians slash spiritual teacher, emotional coach or something like that. Has a lot of funny videos. Not all of them in good taste, I'm afraid, lately, at least from my perspective. But yeah, they are funny. And he had a really good talk though about owning our weirdness, because what makes us weird is what It's where we actually can find what makes us unique, and that's also what makes us shine. It's we want to be like everyone else because that's safe, but at the same time we always want to be special and different and better than, less than, whatever. That's an interesting pull and push of each and every human that we go through. We dream about being special and dream about not being special. Because actually being special is difficult. We need to own our being special. None of us is special, but we are all unique. That's the story. That's what we need to learn. And the Queen of Wands, she's got that covered. She's fully confident. She has a faith in herself, and in her abilities to deal with each and every situation. She's pretty much, she's very mystical. She's very sexual. She's very, perfect. The Queen of Swords is very clear-minded. She's so clear. She's very thorough. She's very analytical. She's very... she understands things very, very clear, crystal clear. She knows how to create strategies. She knows how to communicate. She's a great communicator. She knows her boundaries. She knows her limits, and that's perfectly fine. And she knows how to communicate them at any time. These two knights talk about these. The queens are actually they're agents of the heart. They talk about on their suit. They're on the top of their suit, and there are they're the drive. Their drive is the drive of the heart. So she could be a really great therapist, nurturing in that way. She can be a really good spiritual teacher. She's the mother of ideas. She's the mother of beliefs. Yeah, the ones talk us about belief system and stuff. And the Knight of Cups and the Knight of Wands, these are talking about expansion, about growth, about where can you go out there and check out, take in more ground. How can you expand your field of awareness and your field of knowledge and experience? The Knight of Wands talks about literally experience, going out there and experience everything, go try, learn through experience. I don't know, learning about a new culture by going and traveling there, not by reading it in the history, I don't know, in just the Wikipedia or whatever it is where you're reading about other cultures. And the Knight of Cups is about expanding your emotional realm. It's about, opening up your heart a little bit, being bit more bold with emotions, allowing for more vulnerability and sharing of emotions, this type of stuff. And this is your advice, like allowing yourself to take energies. These energies are present within you. You have the access to them right now, maybe easier than other times. Own your uniqueness, but also your imperfections. Communicate everything that you're aware of. With not everything that you're aware of. Come on, Andrea. Communicate your boundaries. Communicate clearly your ideas, and hold space for yourself, for each and every aspect of yourself, and as much as you can for the people in your life, because you're not really threatened by anyone. You have nothing to prove to anyone. It's much easier to hold space when we are open and when we are supported by our thrones here. And with these two guys, as I said, allow yourself to expand your emotional realm and to learn from experience. Okay, this was your advice. And why is this taking you? Well, it's taking you in a place where you've you don't need to prove yourself anymore, but you do need to stand up for yourself. You're carrying a lot of the lessons of the Queen of Swords here. Seven of Wands, just like Seven of Pentacles is, is an assessment. In case of the Pentacles, it's about more like physical things. So what are my actions? How am I spending my time? What am I not spending my money on? This kind of stuff. The Seven of Wands is much more about my belief system. What do I really believe in? What am I holding myself? I don't know what drives my actions. And yeah, when you it's clear for you what you truly believe in, stand up for that. You may find yourself challenged, and you may find yourself challenged in, I don't know, in a workplace or in your support network, things like this. And it's fine, like when we stand for our beliefs, when we truly believe in something, it helps us first of all to be challenged outside of ourselves, because we can revisit our beliefs and don't just like have blind faith because, I don't know, the church said or mama said or whoever. I'm going back and I'm revisiting them and I'm realizing, okay, yeah, oh, that still makes sense. That's something that I truly believe in. And if somebody with like from different schools of life and different experience can have different belief system, it's perfectly fine, as long as I'm expressing clearly and communicating my beliefs. And with the Queen of Wands is also this whole thing, like I don't really need to tell everything the cat symbolizes we can see things that can be quite deep, but you don't always have to tell them. You can communicate to the level of the other people. If somebody is coming from another completely different life experience and they may simply not relate to whatever I'm observing here. Maybe they have I don't know, they don't believe in psychology and I'm seeing certain traits, or maybe I'm more on the spiritual mystical nature, but they're very science oriented. If I'm telling them that I'm seeing their aura in a certain way, that will be not just completely irrelevant to them, but they just not going to take me seriously, and I may lose the common ground there. So being challenged in this sense is really good for you, because you can help yourself like revisit your belief system and and nourish yourself from them. But it's also inspiring for the other people, because if we just like, go with the flow, not go with the flow, more like change my beliefs, but depending on who am I sitting at the table with, and being a little bit too flexible on that, then we're not really believing in anything. We're just trying to be liked and to get under people's skin. But if you still hold your ground, and if you stand up for yourself, and if you defend your beliefs when you're challenged, they might just be inspired to simply want to do the same, and it can go into very deep conversations where everybody has a lot to learn. So learn from your differences, learn from your belief systems, and allow yourself to go through that process unhindered. It's okay. It's not about conflict. It's not about teaching other people or telling them they should believe the same. It's more about, I believe in these things and that's okay for me, and we can agree to disagree, or we can inspire each other in so many different ways. All right, my darling. And I think, yeah, this like going back to the Hermit and the Emperor here, you're learning again how to, you see, like it actually goes a full circle with this investigation of your belief system after the Hermit, under the umbrella of the Hermit and the Emperor, because you can really learn to again structure your where do you really need to investigate more, where you don't need to investigate, and you can just act from that place, where you're putting your faith in, what's blind faith, what is something that needs to be communicated, and where expansion is needed. It's a very thorough and good investigation. You can learn so much in order to put the basis of your the foundation of your practice with, this is 4 talks about foundations. Okay, we have the Celestial Rose of Ma. I rarely ever see this card, number 10. Let's see what that's all about. Honestly, no. Okay. So let's see the poem from Rumi. Wow, it's a long one. The poem from Rumi says, "The taste of bitterness becomes sweetness in love. The searching in the dark finds the light of faith revealed in love." Searching in the dark finds the light of faith revealed in love. There's your love part. Love transform, I don't know this word, thistles. I don't know what that is. Hope you do, if I pronounce it correctly. So love transforms thistles into jasmine. Love layers heaven and gifts us with wing to soar into its mystery. Love transforms our very thought into a desire of the heart. Oh, love, how divine is your luring. Beauty flows from your unseen face. Your very nature is radiant with joy. You manifest vibrant hues in every flower. Your touch dazzles all creation. Every particle is attracted towards you, longing to unite and dwell in you. Okay, I'll just read a little bit about this. A spiritual gift is on its way to you. That's why all these wands. The celestial rose of the Divine Mother is a precious offering of sacred love to the soul. That love can lift you beyond what you have known, beyond self-imposed limits. By the uplifting fragrance of grace, you will begin to think thoughts you have never dared thinking before. You will feel moved by life, by its sacredness in a way hitherto elusive to you. You will feel ecstasy without apparent cause, and you will feel as though every breath is a seductive caress of heavenly lover, of the heavenly lover. You will be open and surrendered in a way you have never been, or you have longed to be, but in a way you've never known quite how to go about. The spiritual gift signifies the ending of a period of suffering. There's the world right here. There's an ending of a period of suffering and the opening up to a time of new opportunity, a flourishing and thriving release of your unique soul fragrance into the world. It's a gift worth having. So then the sticking point is not the value of the gift. The sticking point, the place where one can stumble and place hands to the ground to break a fall rather than open them to receive, is the thorn. The thorn is the point of pain. It is what tears at you, but is essential for you to receive the rose. Your thorn may be love you need to let go of now, so you are open to present rather than your haunted past. Your thorn may be the fear that if you grow too vibrant and embrace the magnificence of you, of your being, others will shun you out of jealousy or fear and leave you alone. Your thorn may be a constant need to bargain with life, that you shall take one step provided certain unwanted events don't take place, rather than just accepting it and living it as presented to you. Your thorn may be looking deep within the heart and removing a crown of thorns representative of your suffering over a long, long time, letting it go, allowing the heart to heal. This with a sense of virginal purity to emanate from the heart. Virginal purity, Virgo, it means virgin. Okay, never mind. Yeah. Where was I? Okay, with a sense of virginal purity to emanate from the heart, realizing that even great suffering has not tarnished its radiance, but only allowed it to grow strong. Your ready for love heart can now be free from expectation and instead be open to life with curiosity and reverence. Oh, those thorns! They have served their purpose, not in and of themselves, but rather that they have proven you worthy of the rose and ready now to receive its beauty, healing, and grace. Whatever your thorns are or have been, be willing to deal with them, to face them, and most importantly, to release them without any shed of doubt, shame, guilt, or discrimination, beloved, or recrimination, beloved, sorry. They have served now their purpose, they have served, and now their purpose has been completed. The celestial rose of Ma promises a gift worth so much more than any pain you are holding on to. So release to receive now. Can you sense the dew soft petals and luscious fragrance opening to you now? Well, it seems to be yes. Open up for this gift. This gift is not going to come from somebody else. It's something that's it's of a spiritual nature. You're getting your downloads, you're learning from your lessons, and you're ending out a chapter that where you maybe felt a lot of pain. All right, my darling, I hope that makes sense to you. This was a really beautiful journey. Thank you for being here. And if you resonate with this reading, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you here soon. May our practice benefit all beings.